So hi and welcome. I have Celia Louise with me today in our podcast and our YouTube channel and interview. She was with me in the conscious reading training, the first English round. And Celia is the woman behind Champagne Chakra Coaching. And I really like the name. It's CCC. And I like champagne. So I think it's a really cool name. But could you explain to us what is it and what is it you're doing exactly?
Sure. Thank you for having me on, Solveig. I really appreciate it. So the name Champagne Chakra came to me in a meditation in, I don't know, about 2019. And it was a meditation where really my whole body was bubbling up like champagne bubbles. My mom always had champagne glasses that were really pretty. You can't buy them anymore, but they had like a hollow stem. And so that you could see the bubbles in the stem come up into the glass. And as a child, I was always fascinated by that. And that's really when I really connected with meditation, was when I realized that my whole body felt like the bubbles coming up in the bottom of the glass and spilling out of me. And in that meditation, it just came to me, oh, you're finally in the Champagne Chakra, because it was a meditation that was working through all of my chakras. It was actually, I had recently come home from a week-long meditation workshop with Dr. Joe Dispenza in Vancouver in Canada. And I was doing his chakra, well, he doesn't call them chakras, but I was doing his energy center meditations, his chakra meditations. And yeah, it just felt so bubbly and so beautiful. And so then the name came, the Champagne Chakra. I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to teach people, because it was sort of at the end of a long period of checking things out, just getting to know how to get to be full of inner joy again. I had done a lot of energy studies, Reiki and Tantra and yoga, and finally meditation. And I really just got this feeling like, yeah, we are so much more than we are told when we are children. Well, many of us anyways, me for sure. And that feeling of champagne coming up in my body, and now I can do that myself, sort of like anytime I can just bring that feeling back.
Wow.
And so, and I think because so many people, they get so bogged down by life, and I have been that way, that they can't raise their elevation or raise their vibration, their frequency again. They get stuck in a place. And so my coaching is really all about bringing them back up into the frequency of love and joy. I was calling it love for a long time, but really it's even a little bit higher than that. It's the frequency of joy, because that's really what we all want to be here. And that's what I loved about the conscious reading training, because it even further, right? So yeah, so my work is all about connecting body, heart, and mind, and I work people through the chakra system. So I work on removing trapped emotions that are in their energetic and physical body, and I work on their mindset. I work on removing trapped emotions from the heart. So many people have emotions trapped, like they have walls built up around their heart, and then their soul, their spirit can't get out to like let them live what their heart's desire truly is. And when I work with people and they expand their heart, and they release all the beliefs and all the judgments and stuff that they were raised with, it's like a bottle of champagne bubbles up out of them.
Oh, I really love this comparison, because that's exactly describing it. And I haven't had this word before. I know this bubbly feeling, and I always describe it as goosebumps, but it's actually, like you say, it's coming from down there, going up through the whole body. And that's really cool. And you did this with meditation only after Joe Dispenza? Because I know a lot of people like meditating a long time and rather thinking it's a little bit of torture because nothing is happening for a long time and they're losing patience. How was it for you? Was it easy? Or
when I first started meditation, it was really hard. I just found it really hard to sit, and I couldn't do it. And it was actually at a yoga teacher training in Mexico where I did a walking meditation that I finally sort of got into, you know, what they call the zone. And that opened me up. But then it was Joe Dispenza's, well, no, it was something before that too. Then I took a Tantra training. And there we really learned to connect our body. And what I really learned is like when you, and I teach something that I call the secret squeeze. Have we had this conversation yet about the secret squeeze? Okay, so I don't know if we have time to
tell me about it.
I popped this in here because this is actually like something that I teach everybody, and it's something that I get all of my clients or students to do, and it's a squeeze from the perineum, like a pelvic floor squeeze. So I don't know, some people will think of it as maybe a Kegel squeeze that a doctor might have taught a female to do, but it's for men and for women. It's not just for women. And and you're squeezing your pelvic floor muscles and you're bringing them up. And this connects that whole, you know, our energy channel of our chakras and our vagus nerve and our perineum to our throat are all connected. Those three things are all connected. And so when you squeeze your pelvic floor, your perineum, and you sort of squeeze and you do it on the inhale. So you squeeze and you go 1, 2, 3. Here's your inhaling. And then you release, and you will be able to feel it when you can feel the energy move, and it will hit you in your heart, in your throat chakra, and then in your third eye chakra. And so when I'm doing my meditation, I'm breathing like that on the way in and then releasing on the way out. And it's an instant way to shut my mind off. Like it literally, it brings those bubbles up. And it's interesting, when I was at the Joe Dispenza workshop, he teaches this really heavy duty breath thing that you're doing. And he gets us to like hold our hands against each other and to just sort of know how much pressure you're putting on the gut, and you're breathing. And it's like a very masculine, forceful way to get that. And I'm like, but this is really an ancient Tantra teaching that's really sensual and gentle. And it gives me the same effect as what that was doing at that meditation. It's just a different door into it. And I prefer the softer, more sensual way.
Okay, I see.
So when I meditate now, I start with that. I did it for a while. I used to do it through the whole meditation, the squeeze, but now I really just do it for a few moments at the start to sort of get my mind full of the bubbles and emptied of everything I don't want in there. And I just bring that up, and then that starts the floating, sort of like the floating feeling of meditation and the merging with, you know, this field.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes totally sense, because thank you so much for telling us, because I know so many people who have so much difficulties to sit still, and they think meditation is only about sitting still, and it's not nice for a lot of people because it's not in the nature to sit still. So I've already accepted, like some do dance meditation or like walking meditation. What you're telling is like you integrate your body much more. And I like this because I also know from my experience that I had phases in life where I could still a long time, but right now, for example, I can't.
Yeah.
And then there's something like telling me that something's wrong, but it does not have to be. I can do meditation in any way, I think. And this confirms me what you're telling now. And I think for many listening now, there could be a huge relief.
It's very true. Meditation, I follow something called the Radiant Sutras now. And it's an ancient text that basically says there's at least 112 gateways into meditation. And they can be anything. And I've long said, I'm not a runner. I kind of wish I was, but like I have friends that are long distance runners, and they get into that. You know, if you're dancing, like you say, walking on the beach, walking in a forest, there are what I like to think of as meditative moments, and then just sort of meditative phases that people get into. And so people are shamed. They're shamed into thinking that they can't meditate because they can't sit like a monk, but we're not monks.
Yes.
We're not meant to be monks.
Yeah, and maybe they even do it like while car driving and not even noticing, and then they're at their goal and that it's destination. I think, how did I get here? It's because they did meditation in the car, maybe. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Oh my God, I'm realizing you have a huge background knowledge. Can you tell a bit about, I mean, you were talking about Tantra, sutras, you were with Joe Dispenza. So what else? I mean, that's a long story of trainings you did or experiences you collected.
it is and it goes back even further. Energy work came to me when I was an organic farmer. My first experience in energy was really using a pendulum over plants, checking the health of the plants, using a pendulum to check how much water was going to come out of the ground in wells that we were digging when I was working in Indonesia. And then in using hands-on healing, before I did Reiki, hands-on healing on farm animals was taught to me by somebody else in the organic farming community. So it's interesting, like I sort of had this entry into energy work, but I didn't really put myself as a human in it. It was all about plants and animals and nature. I forgot that humans are part of nature too.
Yeah, but this is how you learn, how you gain wisdom in nature. This was same with me when I did gardening. I did intuitive gardening, and there were some nice experiences. Like when I had the red cabbage, I just put it somewhere, and this was the only one that was not attacked by snails. But the other ones I planted after a plant structure, they all got attacked by snails. Like, I think this is also what you got yourself into. Like, I mean, this is the beginning. This is how we learn.
It is. It's true. I have a background in permaculture, which, plants in the way that nature plants, which is, circles and spirals and not straight rows, right? Which are usually attacked by bugs.
Oh, this is interesting. So how did you get out of organic farming?
It's crazy. So from organic farming, when I was married, my ex-husband and I and our daughter, who was 5 at the time, we moved to Indonesia. We were volunteers with a Canadian organization called QSO, and I taught organic farming there for 2 years. We came back, and about a year later, I started working for a peace and human rights organization. So I spent a lot of time in conflict and post-conflict zones working for peace and human rights, and I got a master's degree in Human Security and Peacebuilding. And that period of my life taught me the resilience of humans and how people who had so much less than I had, I come from a pretty average middle-class Canadian family, but how people who had nothing compared to what I had, just how their spirit could soar, how happy they could be if they had been, I worked in Rwanda after the genocide, and I spent a little bit of time there, and the people there, the resilience, the spirit after what they had experienced was incredible. And that all of those experiences just cracked my heart open to humanity, because I realized that we are so much more than our thoughts. And then there was a period when I decided to stop doing my international work, because it was a pretty intense time in Pakistan. And I came home from that and I decided, okay, if I had died there, my daughter would miss me forever, and my organization would miss me for a bit. And so I decided to make a career switch. But then I had this crash, like this absolute crash, because I was already divorced. My daughter was, away doing her thing. She was already in her 20s. And I had a major career change and a move, and all of them together sort of made me crash. And I got full of anxiety and really, really sad. It was almost 3 months. I could barely get out of bed. I could barely function. I could phone my friends. I couldn't. I couldn't go to work. I was just in tears, and I didn't want to go on antidepressant drugs, and I didn't want to go to therapy. I just didn't like that. Just didn't work for me. So I went on this big deep dive. That's when I did I flew to Mexico. I did a 6-week really intensive yoga teacher training and Reiki training. And that was just this beautiful period that sort of then opened me up. And then I went back and took a bunch of art classes, and I just went on this path. And then I ended up in the Tantra class. It was this spiral.
Yeah.
And I realized that really we are given such a tiny box of information about the possibilities of who we are. Yes. And so now my work is really to just help people open up to how much more they can be and how much joy they can access. Because I got so sad, and I was so mad that I didn't come with like a manual how to operate myself like my car did.
But I was actually just thinking, thank God we didn't get a manual, and we get it to discover ourselves, because like what you described, it gives me the champagne feeling all over the whole time, because I can feel how this journey must have been for you to discover what is possible. And I think this, the sweetness, the juiciness in it, that it's hard at the moment when you are this deep, but now in hindsight you realize this is what made you grow.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's
really cool listening to you, because I have the champagne all over.
As I'm talking.
Yeah. Oh, so nice. I wanted to ask, this is also about intuition, because this is what we want to teach in conscious reading, to rely on your intuition again and get it under control and have it like a power in your life. So what did intuition play? Which role did it play throughout your life?
So this is the interesting thing. I really found that my instincts, my intuition had just been squashed by the beliefs of the Catholic Church I was raised in, and the lessons that I got from the people who were in that particular church. Squashed by things that had happened to me, that I had buried, emotions that I had buried on myself. And I really just found that I didn't trust myself. And so getting into the field of energy really opened up my ability to feel things in my body again. And that's where, when I do a conscious reading, it either hits me as a color first or a feeling in one of my chakras, what I'm going to say for who I'm doing the reading for. And now I feel so strongly connected to my intuition and my instincts. It's like it's here all the time. And it's such a shame that we don't, this should be like the first thing we're taught as children, really, is how to access them, because it keeps us safe. It keeps us connected to who we are. And so I really found it has been so interesting since the conscious reading. I just want to share with you what's happened, like even in the last month and a half. So I exchange a reading at the beginning of every month now with Marlies. And the last reading she did since then, there was like this little, the field is quite playful, right?
Yes, it is.
So there was this little like cheeky messenger in the reading, and she says, yeah, he won't say who it was. He just says, you know who it is. And it's like this little cherubic angel that hangs out with me. and really has just been hanging out with me for the last, like pretty much since the training with you. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, angels have sort of now just like flooded me like this last month. I've been doing my meditations, and I'm like, okay, so like, who is my spirit team exactly? And I got this warmth on my shoulders. It's like, and as I say it now, it's happening. It's like where angel wings are, I feel these, and it came as a color of green and gold. And now I had to Google this because I'm like, I don't know all my angels. And I just know that angels exist and that everybody has an angel team. And so I Googled who that was. And then I got like the bottoms of my feet got super warm, and I have really cold, but the bottoms of my feet. So, and it's happening as I speak it. These angels are coming, and this is how they make themselves known to me. Now, everybody feels and sees and hears things in different ways, right? But for me, it's like in my body, I feel it now, and it's because I did all the work to get feeling the intuition and the instincts in my body again. Right? So it's the bottoms of my feet that warm up. So the first angel, like when I Googled it, it was like Raphael. The second one is Michael, and then angel Uriel or Ariel, depending on who you
Wow,
read.
you got them all.
My heart chakra, and that one just turns pink and green. So it's green and gold and pink are these colors that are flashing around me. And then the next angel that made known was Gabrielle, and it's just like this enveloping energy around me. And so the last 6 weeks have just been this flood of this beautiful knowing that we are not alone, and that there is, and I really believe that the source of energy that we work in is love. So, I grew up in a judgmental sort of Catholic church where God was this white guy in the sky who judged everything I did, and I was a sinner. And so I pushed that away for a long time. And I'm like, even the word God just made me really angry. And so now I just sort of, I realize like, I don't need that kind of language. What I like is the language of love, and all spiritual traditions do talk about that there is this energy of love, and that's the playful energy field that I feel like we are all living in. And so now these angels have come in, and it's just like the feeling in my body and in my space that everything is okay is just stronger than it ever has been.
Wow.
And it's so interesting. And I think that's the joy of this conscious reading that you've taught, is that it really elevates. And it's what I love doing when I do it with my clients. It's like helping people get into that elevated frequency, because that's what holds everybody back. We can do the mindset, but you got to lift everything. It's got to be body, it's got to be mind, it's got to be your heart, your soul. You've got to get it all. That whole thing has to be lifted together.
Yes.
Right. And so that's what I love about this, because it's what helps people get what they cannot get on their own.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this. I was just thinking, like, you describe a huge intensity in your images you get, of emotions you get. Has this always been like this, or has this come with conscious reading, that you notice that it's more intense now, or you see more?
Intense. I see more, and it's more intense now. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Like your training opened a huge door for me. Oh, that was there, but I didn't have the access to it. I have, like, when I do Reiki, I've always felt a ton of energy moving between me and the person I'm doing Reiki on. And so, yeah, sometimes it's just like this figure 8 going through, and my clients will feel it too. It's just like crazy. But that was sort of how I experienced it. But now this training has opened up so many other doors. It's beautiful.
I just had it in my last training round, which ended now last week. And I've thought, like, I've done so many readings now, and it's new images all the time, and I'm thinking they must be sold out someday, but they are not. So it's new images coming over and over again, or with new aspects and little square. So it's really, really, it's not, how do you say? It's not ending. It's endless. Yeah, and I'm so used to it now with images. So I have to realize, like, maybe people before doing the training, they really got through life without that amount of inner images, because what we are creating with conscious reading is really a huge amount of inner images. Yes. And with every reading you get a new one.
Exactly. I almost feel like it's like this beautiful thing to do every month, because it just elevates you every single month. Like, it's just like, bring the vibration up and up and up, because that's what we can do.
Yes. And I had just had a participant say, everything is so easy in the field. It's so incredibly easy and nice. And I also think, like, what the field gives to us is like 100% of potential, what's possible, the infinite possibilities. And this is what makes it so huge and uplifting. And I think the only thing is to just take it with you into your everyday life and realize, I've just been into the field and this is where reality starts. So just take all these infinite possibilities with you and integrate it more and more into your everyday life. Exactly. Because often we have this separation still, that we say, okay, field reading is joy, like a hobby, but now we are back to serious reality. And this is what I want to dissolve.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what it does. I mean, that's what it does for me. And that's what I feel like it does for my clients, because what I like to do is like give them, I always record it. And I even do this with the ones that I get, is like, I listen to them every morning. Just like, it's just like, I get my hula hoop out.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I put my little voice message on that I've recorded it on, and I just play it, because it just helps bring that vibe back in. And it's a reminder. And I think that's the thing, is like, well, and Bob Proctor always talked about that, like repetition.
Yes.
And so it's like, we can go to one thing, or we can do something once, and we can get that elevated feeling, but then we drop it in our everyday life. So I feel like these readings, when we record them and we replay them, it helps keep that vibration up.
Yes, and
what our heart's desire is.
Yeah, that's good that you mentioned this, because I also made the experience, I read less and less in the field because it's so integrated now in my life. And there's actually only one powerful image I turn back to over and over again. It's inside of me. Whenever I get insecure or doubts or in low energy, I connect to this. And it's a really simple image I got. It's like when a drop falls into water and it just spreads. This is so powerful. And I got it in a reading, and it's stuck inside of me, and it helps me every time. So it's not about the quantity of readings. You can have like once a huge, really powerful image. And if you, like you say, like Bob Proctor, just do it over and over again, it might help already with uplifting every time. Yeah.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are working with so you've integrated conscious reading into your coaching already, and you are working.
Yes, I absolutely love it, because I sort of do, so it's now it's sort of like 3 things that I do with my clients. So I remove trapped emotions that are stuck in their energy body or their physical body, and I coach them through whatever issue they want help with. And then I always leave them in this uplifted frequency with a reading.
Yeah.
That's either part of the topic that we're coaching on, if they're got a goal they're trying to achieve, or whatever that is, or if they're just like they just need some message of something. So it's this beautiful sort of 3-part process that we do in every session now, and they love it. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I was just curious, asking how is the feedback of your clients? Are they because most don't know. I think I heard like morphogenetic field reading is not so known yet in the US and Canada. How do they react to this tool or your gift?
Love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah.
And even if they don't really understand, because a lot tell me like, Well, actually, I don't really understand, still don't understand, but just do it. It's cool.
Yes. Yeah. And that's it. When somebody's already been working with me anyways, they're like, okay.
They trust you anyway. So
they trust me, and so they're just like, okay, well, then they're curious because that usually I'm working with people who are trying to like, okay, I have this thing I want to do, but I just like, you know, I need to keep my energy up. How do I get my energy up to keep going on it? So this tool I absolutely love. It's like I don't know, it's just it's like the little extra thing. And I think I said that when I signed up for the course with you. I just had this inner knowing. I had this intuition that it was what my clients needed and what I needed too.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing to add into.
That's cool, because that would have been my next question, because I know a lot of women in my group, they really want to do it, but they're still doubting, is it worth the price? Is it really something for my business? Can it bring me, will I have progress afterwards, and so on? So is there anything you can tell them from a customer's perspective? Because it's clear that I say book it, but from your perspective, how did you experience the training? How was it for you?
Oh, the training was so much fun. And I think this is what I loved about the training, was that it was joyful. So a lot of my work is about, joy. People are more successful when they're happy, right? Like it just
goes.
Well, things flow better. And especially, we're at the end of Corona here. And so people have been, so it's this beautiful training where your energy gets elevated, and then you bring that to your clients and you give them something that you really weren't able to give them before, because you step into their energy field in a new way that opens windows. Like it really affirms. Everybody says, oh, that's such an affirmation for me. Like, that, because people have these desires in their heart that they're like so scared to let out. It's like, I really want to do this, but and so
you name it. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a great training. I'm so glad I did it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this. My question would be at the end, like, how, for people that want to work with you now because they got curious about your work, how is possible? How can they find you and to contact you? And we will also put it in the show notes, but it's good to explain.
Yeah, so I have a website, celialouise.com. And I also have an Instagram, which is Love Your Life by Celia. Yeah, if there's a contact form on my website, if you're curious, you can just send me a little message and we can have a chat.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Champagne Chakra coaching will stick.
Yes.
So if you put that into Google, you always find you. That's really unique. Yeah. So anybody who listens now and is curious about working with Celia, contact her. Like she said now, and Champagne Chakra reading is her brand, you can say. Yeah, it was so nice chatting with you about these topics. It's so nice listening to you and your, like, all the wisdom you gained. It's a really exciting life you are leading. And I want to leave it up to you to say the last words, and then we can say goodbye to the listeners.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here. And I really just want to leave everybody with the knowledge that they are so much more than they have been led to believe. And there is this exciting, vibrant field of energy that you can step into. And I encourage you to step into it with us.
This is really beautiful. Nice message. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the interview. Thank you for everybody who listened. And yeah, see you the next time. Bye-bye.